Oh, that's great. That's great. It was a close one. But the bank around the corner is the least of our worries right now. How about Fannie and Freddie? They've added $291 billion to the federal debt last year alone. Over the next decade, they're projected to be good for $389 billion in debt. You and I now are on the hook for a total of $6.3 trillion with Fannie and Freddie. And by the way, that's on top of the whole $14 trillion that we're on the hook for. Fannie and Freddie own or guarantee about half of all residential mortgages in the U.S. This is their liability. Yeah. I feel like I'm 12 years old again, but that amount of cash that Freddie and Fannie have at their disposal to dish out before 2012 is bigger than that number. It's called infinity. Theoretically, no limit at all. And the greatest part? They snuck it through on Christmas Eve when everybody was looking at chimneys, for the big fat man to jump out at them. At least we were in the giving mood. President Obama gave and gave again. His Office of Management and Budget handles all of these things separately so they don't affect that pesky bottom line, which is already the worst in history. Scott Garrett, he's a New Jersey Republican congressman. He's now putting forward for the accurate accounting of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. From New Jersey. Somebody who's actually trying to do the right thing. Isn't that amazing? If we're going to own every single business and home in America, let's at least throw them on the ballot sheet. What do you say? Even the head of Obama's budget criticized the president for not putting the rescues of Fannie and Freddie in the budget. He said it was irresponsible. He said, quote, "The degree of federal control over Fannie and Freddie is so strong that we're incorporating them into the federal budget," except he didn't say that to President Obama. This guy said it to President Bush back when he was heading up the Congressional Budget Office, and now that he's at the OMB working with President Obama, that's really not a high priority. Don't worry, though, because according to Business Week, the government wants us to know that they, quote, continue to be on track to release a statement in the very near future. Okay, well, not the near future, but the very near future. And that statement that they're continuing to be on track for. I think they're just replacing the old white tape and the old IBM Selectric. They're right now turning it on and it's going, and they type it out. They're looking for that tape. It's hard to find, but soon they'll have that statement. The problem with all of this, and I don't know if you've heard this, but the housing market isn't exactly strong at the moment. Remember those crazy mortgage-backed securities that all the banks got in trouble with? Yeah. The Fed has been the only one who would buy them. Well, the Fed just announced that they're no longer going to buy those mortgage-backed securities starting next month. So they either can't take any more of them, or they think everything is so stable that they're just not needed and the banks can get back into that business. Yeah, that's good. Let's see. About 2.9 million households are 90 days late or more on their payments. Moody's forecasts that 1.9 million homeowners will lose their homes this year. We're also told that the crisis is behind us. Only problem? That's 200,000 more homes that are lost, and people are like, gee, I wonder what happened. Here's the key. Than last year. In other words, it's projected to get worse. So, if you can get away with keeping Fannie and Freddie off of your books so nobody really sees it, wouldn't you if you were a politician? I'm just wondering how much of that infinity we're all going to wind up forking over. I'd panic if we didn't have the president who was telling us the truth, the straight truth, every single day.
1 year later, it is largely thanks to the Recovery Act that a second depression is no longer a possibility.
Oh, goodness gracious. I'm glad to hear that. I feel so much better now. How about you?